All right. All right, guys. Hey, welcome everybody. My name is Chris Cook. Welcome to the weekly Master Agency Zoom session. Thank you for everybody that's on time. We got a couple of guest speakers up for you guys today doing book of the month, and then we're going to break down some PPL and some close ratios. Really help a lot of you guys get profitable in your business and give you things to focus on if that's what you want to do. It's achieve profitability and help families today. So, but first, we love bragging on some people. So let's get into that part first. Here's our leaderboards this past week. Looking at Mr. Elijah Corujo coming in at 3,638. Way to go, Elijah. Always on our leaderboards. Mr. Grant Reynolds, 4,649 this past week. Number one producer this past week, Miss Laura Davis. Way to go, Laura Davis. Number one in app count as well. 6 applications this past week for $6,255.48. Way to go, Laura Davis. Super proud of you, buddy. Also wanted to get into the leaderboards for the past month of June. Love talking about where our leaders were in the month of June. So top 4, Laura Davis, 26 applications, $17,216.04 in premium. We got the number 3 spot, month of June, Grant Reynolds, $18,244 in premium. We got number 2 spot, Jordan Gillum, $19,461 in premium. And the number 1 spot is a guest on our call today, guys, Elijah Corujo, 20 applications for right at $20,852.28 in premium. Way to go, Elijah. Looking at the group of the month this past month, Grant Reynolds team, guys, seems like a broken record, $51,666 in premium. Way to go, Grant Reynolds and that organization. Love seeing that type of stuff right there. Number 1 key leader this past month was the Valzarn organization at 47,000. So good stuff there. Got some year-to-date leaderboards. This was through the end of the week last week for personal production. The top 5 in our organization, 83,000. We had Jordan Gillum at the number 5 spot. Number 4 spot, Laura Davis at 90,000. 99,000, Elijah Corujo. 102,000, Mr. Grant Reynolds. And 110,000, Mr. Valzarn. Wanted to brag on those fine folks going out there and making it happen. Number 1 group so far this week is the Grant Reynolds team, just over 11,000 in premium. Way to go, Grant Reynolds and that team, starting out July strong, like always. And I know you guys are wanting to make a big push this month to get up to 75,000 plus. So I know you guys can do that stuff. Really good stuff coming. So proud of everybody on that. Let's get into recruiting leaderboards. STPs 10 plus. We got Barry Davis this past week, Jared Gillum, 2 people right there that did over 10 plus STPs this past week. Way to go, gentlemen. Very proud of you. Good part is I think we got a lot more people joining the party coming up in these few weeks. But way to go, Barry Davis, Jared Gillum leading the way this past week and show the plans, because it's key, folks. You got to be able to share the plan to be able to grow your team. It's just one of those facts in business. Recruits this past week. This is very important because obviously you can't build a big organization if you don't have recruits. So you got to have recruits. We had Jeffrey Miller with a brand new recruit, Valzarn with a brand new recruit, Laura and Barry Davis with a brand new recruit, and me and Miss Tina Freeman. Woo, woo, way to go, Tina. Me and Tina Freeman, we both had a recruit this past week. So way to go, buddy. We're looking, hey guys, we're looking to see a lot of people going out there. If you can count in this business and realize that there's a lot of investment that Symmetry Financial the CEO and founders are putting into our businesses, that's just out there for the taking if we all take advantage of it over the next 6-7 months. And we see a lot of people now starting to invest more in recruiting. It's certainly something that we challenge a lot of our leadership teams to. And I would just say for a lot of you guys out there, make sure you're taking advantage of it. Get with your leader today and come up with a plan and a process in place to get recruiting where you're on the leaderboard every week for 10 plus STPs. If you're not, there's a problem in your process. I promise there's a problem in it. Because if you can count in this business, you're getting $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 bonus basically if you get to some of these tiers. Y'all with me? And so they're basically giving away money for you to go out and build your business big and build it wildly successful, because you're just helping other people be successful. So it's almost like a no-brainer to go do. And if you're confused about it, if you don't understand it, get with a mentor today, your upline growing mentor, not a cross-line buddy. Get with your upline that's growing a business and ask them what you need to do next if you're wanting to start a business and start recruiting. That would be a key component that I would give out to you today. So let's get into one more thing. News and notes this past week. I want to give you guys a couple of quick news and notes that I had for you. New book of the month we're going to have for this upcoming week. This past week, we got Jaime Sanchez going to be on the call with us today. He's going to break down Go for No. We're done with that book. We're already done with it. So if you're brand new, pray you read it. If you didn't, go read it today. It's only 76 pages, real simple read. For the next 4 weeks, we're going to do How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling. I'm going to promote that book wildly because it's the very first book I read when I first got in this industry so many years ago. And it's been such a blessing to me and the families that I've been able and fortunate to help in personal production through the years and really in building a business. But I can correlate a lot of my success in this business back to that one single book. But I didn't just read the book and think it was a good idea. I applied those principles to this business. And if you will apply those principles, there's no way you won't wildly be successful here and really find a home here, either part-time, full-time, or you can go out and build a big business here at Symmetry Financial. So my challenge to you is go get How I Raised Myself from Failure to Success in Selling today. Don't get it on audio. Read it. It will become more part of your subconscious. I hear a lot of people say, well, I got it on audio. Well, remember, if you're only listening on audio, you're only retaining about 20% of what you're listening to. If you read it, it becomes more a part of your subconscious. So do that. That's a challenge to you. Get that book today. Remember, this is a 5-week month. We just completed week number 1. You got 4 weeks left to go out and get your raises. If you don't know how to get a raise, make sure you get with an upline mentor today to go get a raise. I know Elijah Corujo started out here part-time. He went from a 60 to an 80% contract part-time with us. So I know any of you that want to do that path, if you're full-time, if you're not on a path to get to 60 to 80, you're doing something wrong. You got to get with the mentor because they can teach you how to get there and they can teach you how to do it quickly if you want to do it. So make sure you take advantage of these 5-week months to go and get that boost to get yourself a raise, because I don't know of anybody that would turn down a raise. New agent call hosted by Mr. Joe Martinez tomorrow. For those of you who don't know who Joe Martinez is, last year he was our #1 producer for the entire year. He submitted $335,000 in premium last year, a little bit over $200,000 in income that he made with us last year in personal production. So if you want to know how to do it big, and if you want to know how to do it at a high level in personal production, that'd be a man that I would plug into tomorrow and take notes. The great part is at the end of that, you get to ask questions and you can take notes while he's going over his new agent call. At the end, you get to ask questions from somebody like Joe Martinez and he can give you feedback. My challenge to you is, will you actually take his advice? Because if you will, could make a big, huge difference in your business. Coming up this week, put this on your calendars, 1 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, Evolution of Your Business Part 2. I don't know about some of you guys, but Evolution of Your Business Part 1 blew me away. I mean, it absolutely blew me away for what the founders are contributing back to the agents and the whole sales force. Basically, they gave away 20% of the equity of the company to all of us if we go take advantage of it. It's just the people that take advantage of it's going to get that 20%. So I can't imagine what the Evolution of Your Business Part 2 is going to be if they can beat that. It's like, but wait, there's more, right? You know what I mean? It's like they're always adding something else. So look forward to hearing that, and I promise you will not be disappointed. Make sure 1 p.m. Eastern, it's the Zoom session each week hosted by Symmetry Financial and their founders. Make sure you're plugging in that. And more importantly, if you're growing a business, you got to know how many people you got on that call, because that's the people that's actually in your organization. If you call somebody up and they're like, well, we actually wasn't on that call, what you got to realize is that person probably isn't in your organization. They're just filling it out and maybe thinking about being a part of your organization. And you got to start tracking that number. I'm talking to you leaders out there. You got to start tracking that number. And if you don't know who's on those calls, you got to fix that, and you got to figure out how to track that, because if you don't get that corrected, it's really going to be hard for you to build a business. And if you got people on there that refuse to get on the calls with you, you don't have those people on your team. Don't worry about it. Go find somebody else. You with me? You got to go find somebody else that will be. You're not here pushing rope. We're looking to pull people in the direction that want to be pulled, right? So be fair enough. Don't make yourself go crazy and try to get somebody to do something. That's not your job. So, guys, all right. We got Mr. Jaime Sanchez up here today, one of the BFF of Joe Martinez. So that's got to be super cool life right there. I'm going to unmute him. Jaime, you out there, buddy?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear, man. Got you on the big screen right here. Looks
All
like
right.
you're in Mr. Joe Martinez's catbird seat today, right?
Yeah, I got his throne today, so that's all I'm at today.
So I know you know you're a fairly newbie to the business, and I know you're just now taking the embrace of reading to your business and stuff like that. So what do you know? Talk to us a little bit about Go for No today, man. What's it mean to you, and what are you getting out of this book, and what do you think some of the other people can get out of this book and apply to their business?
Well, good morning, guys. My name is Jaime Sanchez. Thank you, Chris. I'm on Leaderboard. I'm sorry. This is upline is Joe Martinez. I'm sorry, a little bit
That's
hesitating.
your best friend, man. That's your best friend, buddy.
Yeah. As I read the book, it's pretty easy and pretty outgoing. Is you just gotta go for it. Exactly what the title is telling you is exactly what you gotta do. Go for many no's as you can. The failing part is a part of it. You're always gonna fail on anything that you put your heart and soul to it. So as much as you can, just push it. Try to go as much as you can because everything's gonna kind of develop and go as you go. And the book says, there's a couple things that caught my eye in the book. Says about, as a child, you always get no's, you always get, as you're growing up, you get, hey, this is not, you're not supposed to do this. This is not for you. And you're always going to be pushing at it as a child. There's no way that you always stop. You're always a kid. You always want to go for it and do it again as many times until you know. That's what caught my eye because as growing up, I wanted to play sports so bad, and my parents were not into it too much. So as growing up, we didn't have that much funds. We didn't have transportation that well. My father always had to work a lot. This kind of pushed me into like, okay, eventually I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna play basketball, and I'm gonna be one of the point guards, setting picks and passing this and doing that. And eventually it did happen. As I growing up in high school, I was one of the second point guards in basketball, and I loved it. I just loved it, and it was kind of like in the book says, never give up. Always push as much as you can. And like Symmetry is, so many calls you're gonna get. You're gonna call, and just get no. You're gonna get a no. You're gonna go. Just gotta push through it and never give up. Always, always, never give up because eventually somebody's gonna hit and somebody's gonna get you. You need to help some family out there. As a newbie, it's hard. It's very hard, but you just can't give up. Like Joe said, and especially now that I have Joe here and he's helping me out as a mentor, it's even easier for me to tell me. He just pushes me and tells me, you know what, this is gonna help you. Don't give up. Read this. Read the book. Get more motivation into it. It's gonna eventually push you and not to give up, basically. So, uh, what else I can tell you, Chris? This book is very, very, very knowledgeable on pretty much on how symmetry works. That you have somebody else's back, and somebody is always going to be there in front of you and tell you, hey, you know what, this book or this way is going to show you how to get you a better understanding of making a phone call or setting up an appointment or even talking to any co-leads that they're 50-cent leads or whatever. So the thing is that like I said, go for no is the best way. Don't give up. Always push no matter what. Um, what else can I say, Chris? As you, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain sometimes to people that want to get into this business, but they don't understand. But like Joe said, just go for it. Don't look back to it. If there's so many no's you're gonna get, it's the best way. So on the book, like exactly two in this book, it tells you try to go for many no's as you can. Push as hard as you can. Don't give up. Uh, and that's the best way to do it. Just go for it. Don't give up.
Yep, so true. Anything else you want to add on that?
Uh, well, let me see. Well, what's gonna help me too on this is that when I set up my appointments and run calls and stuff like that, I'm gonna have to put a kind of like a board and just put like on the book says put no's and put yes aside. So don't look at the bad part about it. Just run the appointments and see how many no's you can get so you can better outperform whatever you want to get to it out of it too as well.
You know, I was reading a little excerpt of this book because I've highlighted and I've read this book like I think 8 times now throughout my career. And I was looking at it, Jaime. One part talks about it, and it really strikes home to me. And I really think this is something to bring to light. It says successful people fail eagerly, while failures avoid failing.
Yeah.
And I want us all to really think about that and ruminate on that a second. So let's read that again. Successful people fail eagerly, while failures avoid failing. I see so many people in life that they think they call somebody and they get a no. That's failure. No, it's just your pathway to your yes. That's all that is. It's just you had to go through that process to get to the next step. And so I challenge all of us, you know, how many of us truly think that way? I hear people say, well, I got told no a couple of times today. I'm discouraged. And I'm like, what are you discouraged about? And they're like, well, I got told no. And I was like, that's nothing to be discouraged about. Every successful person that came before you, every successful person that's been successful in this business, got no's. I promise you. I lead the world in no's, I promise you. Edward Pritchett, he probably got more no's than all of us combined. The cool part is what we understood is that was a process to get us better. You with me? And the people that truly embrace that understand that that's what it is. Now, it's not to say, are we supposed to just get all no's? Heck no. You with me? Remember, during that process, what we got to ask ourselves, are we learning something? Because if we just get a no and we didn't learn something from it, we truly didn't get the lesson inside of what we were doing. And so every no that I got throughout my career, especially early on, was teaching me a lesson of sometimes what not to do. Sometimes I was too stubborn to listen to my mentor that I wanted to go fail first without my mentor. And if I would have just listened to my mentor, I could have been like, oh, I don't have to hit that pothole because I would do it. But a lot of us, what do? We have to learn failure firsthand, right? So, you know, take that to heart. But I want to share this with everybody. And Jaime, if you have any comments on this, you let me know. The essential ingredient of this book, and if you get this, and I would almost challenge all of you, like, if you look at this, it's this little chart. On my book that I've got here, on my book, it's page 40 and 41 is the page. Your book may be page 42, 43, not really sure. But if you have your book, the 5 failure levels, if you'll learn these, if you will absolutely learn these, and if you'll apply this to leads and you'll apply it to recruiting, you will be amazed at the difference in your business. And I'm going to read through them briefly because this is too important of a book not to hit this point. Level 1. Level 1, we all have this ability to be here. The ability to fail. I promise you, I have had the ability to fail and fail at a massive level. 100% of the people on planet Earth have the ability to fail. It's where we all start, okay? It's where we all start. What keeps most people at level 1 status is their intense desire to avoid, remember, to avoid any form of failure. It's the people that want to avoid failure that are essentially the biggest failures of all. So, is their intense desire to avoid any form of failure at all costs. As a result, check this out, folks, 80% of you will never move beyond, 80% of all people will never move past this basic level. It's what keeps people a lot of times in jobs they don't need to be in. It's what keeps people at certain comfort levels, is because they will stop there because their intense desire. It's what keeps people going out and reading a product manual but won't actually make a call. It's the psychology. So some of you mentors out there, you're like, you know, I've been working with this person and they just keep reading the product guide, but they won't actually make calls. And it's like, because their intense desire to not fail is preventing them from doing what actually makes them succeed. Y'all with me? Think about it. It's that intense desire. And what you got to realize, 80% of the people builders out there that you hire aren't ever going to leave level 1. And you can't make them. Only they can. And I just ask you, when you think about that, or do you, if you see yourself in that level 1, remember, becoming aware of a problem is, a problem well identified is half solved. Is over halfway solved. You with me? So now that you are aware of it, because I promise you, at one point in my life, many years ago when I first started this business, I was the definition of level 1. You with me? Level 2, I'm going to read it to you. We got time. Level 2, if you move to level 2, the willingness to fail. Level 2 people develop the willingness to fail, which means that they come to accept failure, key, write that down. They come to accept failure as a natural byproduct of the process of seeking success. In other words, they make a call. They understand, yep, I got some no's today, but you know what? That's the process. Now I'm massive action, constant correction. I'm calling my Elijah Corujo. I'm calling my Joe Martinez. I'm calling my Balzarn. I'm calling my Laura Davis, my Jordan Gillum. I'm calling them and I'm counseling. But they come to accept failure as a natural byproduct of the process of seeking success. Fewer than, check this out, and this is what blow your mind. This is only level 2, folks. Fewer than 20% of all people make it to level 2 for any sustained period of time. So a lot of people wonder, well, I saw this person on the leaderboard for a couple of weeks and now they're not here anymore. That's right. Because guess what? Fewer than 20% of all people make it to level 2 for any sustained period of time. Because their intense desire takes back over, it takes them back to level 1. And it takes them where they've always been. You got to realize that it's the psychology that's going on. They go back, they get the job that they were frustrated at to come here, but guess what? They never changed their mind. You with me? They listen to the audio, right? And they retain less than 20% of this book, so it never became ingrained in them. And they didn't go massive action. They didn't constantly correct. All right, here's another challenge. Level 3, wantingness to fail. Y'all be shocked if you called me up and said, what level do you think I'm at? I had a guy one time, Jaime, he called me and he was like, I think I'm really close to level 3, probably 4. And I'm like, bro, you write like 2 apps a year. You ain't even moved off level 1, not one time. Like, I love you, man, but you've not moved, brother. And you know what I mean? So don't be anointing yourself some captain of where you're at. You know what I mean? Ask somebody that's above you, and they can give you good, honest feedback of where you're at. But level 3, listen to this. Wantingness to fail. Wantingness to fail. Not willingness. Willingness was step 2. Wantingness. That means they are actually looking to fail. This is where I see a lot of people fail in recruiting. They'll recruit for a little bit and they'll be like, well, I recruited a person, they fell off. And I'm like, did you chase them off? No. Well, then ain't much you can do. They chased themselves off, right? Then why are you stop recruiting? Because you don't want to fail. You with me? You don't want to fail. So you stop it. That's the reason you see people, they'll recruit for a little bit and they'll not recruit for a little bit. They'll run appointments at a high level for a little bit and then they'll not, because really they're either stepping on level 2 or level 1. So level 3, wantingness to fail. Having the wantingness to fail goes beyond mere tolerance or acceptance of failure as a part of life. Having the wantingness to fail goes beyond mere tolerance or acceptance of failure as a part of life. Ooh, that's big time. Wantingness means, and I'd write this down, developing the desire to fail. One of my biggest components, Tina works with me here at the office. She knows each week one of the things that I track is STPs. And through those STPs, I get plenty of no's. That's a share the plan or a show the plan. But I want those STPs each week. I don't care if I got 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 5. I want them, I crave them, I need them because I want to fail. Because failing finds the next Elijah Corujo. Failing finds the next Joe Martinez. And I know that. I've been trained that. My brain knows it. And the only way I can find Joe Martinez is to fail a bunch. I know it. Does that make sense? And some people think, well, I got to train people to do it. And it's like, no, it's beyond that, folks. So means developing the desire to fail with the inner faith. It's a powerful word. Inner faith, with the inner faith that personal and financial growth will follow. Check this out. Fewer than 5% of all people ever get to that level. Y'all would be amazed if y'all asked me who I thought had reached that level with us. I'll keep it a secret. You can ask me individually. Fewer than 5% of people ever get to that level. Fewer than 5%. That's big. Level 4. Whew, but wait, there's more. Level 4 failing, bigger and faster. See if y'all have ever had a conversation with me and see if this rings a bell. The people who ascend to level 4 are those who have come to the conclusion that if failing is good, then failing faster is even better. And not just failing faster, but if one is going to increase their failure rate, do it going after big goals that are worthy of the effort. Think about that, folks. Are you going after big goals that are worthy of the effort? You with me? And not just failing faster, but one is wanting to go faster to increase their failure rate. Because I know if I put an Elijah Corujo on the phone today and he gets 10 no's, he probably has 10 appointments. See, that's just wanting to go faster. And then I challenge, if I'm talking to Elijah, it's like, well, if 10 no's were good, why don't we get 20 no's? Me and Elijah's had a few of those conversations. Right, buddy? Hey, level 5, check this out, Jaime. Level 5 failing, exponentially. This is what it's called, exponentially. This final level is for those rare individuals who understand that massive success requires multiplication of effort. Level 5 people enlist others to fail with them, knowing that if individual failure means individual success, group failure equals group success. How many people are you enlisting to fail with you at 15, 20 appointments a week? How many people are you enlisting to fail with you at 20 plus STPs a week? Think. Level 5 people enlist others to fail with them, knowing that if individual failure means individual success, group failure equals group success. It's one of the most powerful charts you can put in front of you. I would say print this chart off, put it in your office, make whatever you want to do, poster of it, put it anywhere you want. If you want to see large success, you learn those 5 levels, and then you start to identify and become self-aware of where you are in those levels and the certain psychology that's going on in your head. Because if you apply those principles to this business and then you start to enlist others to apply those principles, You will be amazed at what you can do here at Symmetry Financial, because I would tell you, I know 2 level 5 people here at Symmetry Financial, Marshall Wayland, Edward Pritchett. Y'all with me? They've enlisted enough people to go massively fail with them. I'm telling you, and there's other people approaching it. They just got to get more people enlisted, right? But what has it done for them? I mean, if you guys have been around here and you've heard those names, what has it done for them? Edward Pritchett's team did 3.7 million. You think he's enlisted people to fail faster with him? It's exactly what he's done. You with me? So I just say, look at that book. Thank you, Jaime Sanchez, for giving us your insight today, buddy. So if you're a point guard, I got to play you when I come back out to Arizona, because I'm a basketball player, man. I've already played hour and a half this morning. So I can't wait to.
I got your word, Chris. No, come down here.
Hey, we're going to play some basketball. We'll tell Joe to get him a team ready and we'll beat him, right?
All right.
Yeah. Tell him to get a team ready. We're going to block his shot, though. That's going to be easy, right?
All right.
Appreciate you, my man.
All right, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. I got Mr. Elijah Corujo out there. You out there, buddy?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. So we got 8 minutes left on the clock here, buddy. We're going to go through it. We're going to get it live and correct right here. So Elijah Corujo, listen to this, folks. We got Elijah on the call today. He's the number three producer year to date in our company. Most of it he has done part-time. So the good part is you can do this part-time, still be a pretty decent producer, right? So can't argue with that, right, sir? We talk a lot about right now, you guys are going to hear a lot in our vernacular about PPL, premium per lead, and close ratio. Because what we realize is if you want to become a more powerful player here at Symmetry and you want to be able to capture more leads in your organization, part of your organization, be, a wanted person taking leads by Symmetry Financial, they're looking at PPL, right? And remember, one of the things, our moniker in the past has been keeping PPLs at 150 or above, and now they're wanting to take it to 300 because we realize if we do it, we double the profitability of the company, which creates $1 billion valuation of the company, which all the people going out with those equity evaluation grants that could be coming out in the next 2 to 3 years, that's a very important number for all of us to be looking at to hit. So listen to some of these numbers here. So year to date, his lead investment for Elijah Corujo is $3,600. Okay, that's what he's invested year to date. His income, most of it part-time so far, just now really getting into full-time, is $45,121. So it means for every, good Lord, what is that? $3,600 created $45,121 in income. Can y'all imagine that? Like, how awesome is that? His PPL, what's your PPL? We did it last 3 months. What's your PPL last 3 months, Elijah?
$4,866.66 premium per lead.
So do you think challenging somebody to get to a 300 PPL, which is premium per lead, which is really easy to divide, you just take the number of A leads you receive and then the premium that you got and divide it by it, right?
Yeah. It's not even a challenge to get to that point. The only reason I think you would be below $300 per A lead is if you're taking a disproportionate amount of A leads to your work ethic.
Woo, I like it, man. So let me say it again. So if the number right now is 300, this guy has a 4,868 PPL. That's how profitable this young man is. He's probably one of the most profitable people in our entire organization, if not the most profitable as far as leads to income from that. So proud of you, buddy. Did you ever get a chance? I know we were working at Opt this morning. What about your close ratio? What's that look like?
Opt is trash. And so I was not able to calculate it. I reached out to Tina. She also, to no avail, to my knowledge, was able to calculate it. If I had to ballpark it, it's over 80%, just based off of the number of people I sit with compared to apps I'm writing.
Right. And we realize, so I agree. I'd say it's over 80. And I would almost say if you took it for the whole year, I'd almost bet it's over 100%. because your applications compared to the amount of A leads you took, I almost think you probably have more apps than you actually have A leads, because that's really the only thing that does it. And a lot of people ask, well, how do I calculate close ratio? Well, it's pretty simple. You take the amount of A leads you've received and how many apps you submit. Like, say if you took 10 A leads and you submitted 3 apps, then you have a 30% close ratio. If you took 10 A leads and took 30 bonus leads and you wrote 3 off the A leads and 3 off the bonus leads, then you have a 60% close ratio. You with me? So, in talking to you, we were talking about that. So if we want to have a high PPL and we want to have a high close ratio, because we realize that you're like tops in probably both those categories with us, what do you think? And take notes on this, folks. This is profitability. If I told you every $3,600 you handed me, I handed you a $45,000 check in return, would you like that business model? Basically printing money. I mean, it just is what it is. So can you give us a couple of tips that they can take notes on to apply to their business this week to start getting those type of results? I'm taking notes.
Absolutely. So I want everybody out there to know that I'm talking to both new agents as well as veterans. When I'm talking about premium per lead, this isn't just some number that if you've been here a while, you need to be calculating, because premium per lead is synonymous with profitability, I think. That's why they want you to hit a certain number, because they don't want agents coming in here, dumping money into leads and then not being profitable, right? So a couple things that I do that I would attribute to the high PPL is I'm going to break down a couple things. There's I think 4 categories I'm going to cover. First one is the 5 R's. Second is resolving my leads. Third is writing multiple applications. And 4, my favorite, is bonus leads. So I got started after being out of the field in February. So my year-to-date annual premium is calculated between the month of February and last Friday. So I didn't work at all in January, and until from February to May, I only worked bonus leads. I went back through and worked all of the bonus leads that I had taken between the months of October of 2019 and January of 2020. So I went back through and worked a crap ton of bonus leads. I didn't start taking A leads again until May. And when I did, I didn't stop my bonus lead flow. And so if people are out there wondering what leads I work, I take about 30 bonus leads each week, predominantly 4A and 5A, but there's gold in every lead category. So if you're trying to figure out how much to get with your growing upline to kind of adjust that based off of your budget. And so my favorite lead classes are 4As and 5As, but there's gold in every single lead class as long as you're willing to work them. And so I take about 30 a week. I was averaging between $200 and $300 in my lead investment. And whenever I get leads, this is something I was talking to Chris about, I'll go into Opt and send myself the PDF version, because I'll call through them. And I keep track of how many I got, when I got them, where they're at, and how many are left unresolved. And so I resolve, I'd say 85% or more of my leads. And when I say resolve, I see Dustin posting about it all the time, like this many resolved in GroupMe. I get a yes or no from that person. And so Chris asked me, how many times do you call these people? I'm like, I mean, until the answer, but typically I'll move on after I called him like 17 times. And he's like, well, why do you stop? And I'm like, well, because I go door knock them. And he said, well, I'd call those people 25 times in a day if that's what it took. And I love that challenge. And so if you're stopping anywhere less than 25 or more, that's going to cut into your PPL and your profitability. And at the end of the day, how much money you're making per lead. So resolution. Third thing I do is I will bundle applications for a client. So if I'm sitting with a family, I love writing multiple applications on that individual, simply because one, I mean, there's a ton of reasons, but one, you make more money doing it. 3, you cover more bases to get that family protected on multiple fronts. 3, it solidifies you as the agent for life for that client. Because if you just write one policy and another agent comes behind you and it's like, hey, we can do mortgage protection, life insurance, disability, critical illness, and retirement, they're going to replace you in a heartbeat. So that's something that I do because that adds to the premium per lead. And my favorite thing to do is I'll add accidental to a mortgage protection plan. I do not ever just write accidental. Do not confuse yourself thinking that you're genuinely helping a family by only writing accidental. Just because what happens if they get sick? They're screwed. They just wasted money because that does not cover them. Accidental is great to do, but it's not meant to be the only thing that you write. And unless they're over 85, we can help them with we can help any individual. Guaranteed issue is an example. And so I will, when I show them a quote for mortgage protection, I'll also include in like maybe 100, 200,000 in accidental. And I'll just show one quote like, hey, this coverage covers you for this amount on the mortgage. It also comes with 200,000 in accidental, costs $92 a month. And I'll do that for each tier. And so that's a really easy way. And I explain to them like, hey, you're going to get 2 packets in the mail. That way you can keep it organized. And they love that. And then the next thing that I do that I didn't realize so many agents have been sleeping on this, but the 5 R's. Come on, guys. Good Lord. I told Chris about it. He's like, you do realize most people don't do this. And he's like, you should. He's like, very few do. So in all authenticity and transparency, I do ask about the 5 R's. And if you don't know what they are, first one is referrals, then Rugrats, replacement, retirement, and recruit them. And I put next to replacement, I put / retention, because one of the problems that I encountered, and I'm going to circle back here, one of the problems I encountered last year was I sucked at keeping policies on the books, man. I was getting a lot of stuff either replaced by other agents, or I wasn't locking it down enough as a client for life, and they would cancel a few months later and I would get a chargeback. This year, I could count on one hand the number of chargebacks I've gotten. I've written over 95 applications. And so that retention rate is massive. But referrals is the first one. How do I get referrals? I ask for them. So when I get to the end of it's not some mystical routine I do where I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a list of 20 referrals. I simply ask them a couple questions. First one is, hey, do you know of anybody who also needs help with this sort of thing? Whether it be life insurance or mortgage protection or whatever. And a lot of times they'll give me the answer or the contact info of a parent or a sibling, or a lot of times I'm meeting with both spouses, so I'll write multiple policies there. That also helps PPL. And then I'll call the beneficiary if the beneficiary is not their spouse as like an emergency contact. That was a great idea Chris had. Just because here's the deal. You could write a policy, but if the beneficiary does not call the carrier, it's going to be really difficult for that claim to be paid out. Now, sometimes carriers will go above and beyond. I know Mutual of Omaha is one of those. I actually had a client who had an experience like that where they sought them out to get them that check. But call the beneficiary. Get them to know like, hey, this is the coverage that your significant other put on them for you. What do you have? And do it that way. I've written a bunch of applications that way. And then Rugrats, Children's Whole Life Policies, Foresters just came out with one. If you want to get some points and you're in the top 10 of our group, Mutual of Omaha has a great Children's Whole Life plan. I think United Home Life does, not 100% sure on that. But those are dirt cheap. You could add 4 or 5 Children's Whole Life policies on them for like $12 a month total. And so that's a great way of doing it. And then replacement. So during the Zoom presentation, it asks, do they have any sort of other life insurance? And that's where I will pretty much figure out whether or not I'm going to write an additional policy to replace one that they've already got, because some of the easiest sales are people who already have life insurance because they believe in it. And a lot of times it's a jank policy that's going to expire soon. Maybe it has increasing premiums. Maybe you can get them something cheaper. Maybe it doesn't have living benefits, whatever. I replace them. And so the first 3 are the ones that I do the most: referrals, Rugrats, and replacement, to write multiple apps on one lead and really shoot up that PPL massively. And I know Laura Davis is a beast at this. Jordan Gillam's a beast at this. they'll get like 3 leads and write 20 apps. It's ridiculous. And so do that, because that's going to increase your profitability significantly. Get an answer from everybody. Call them 25 times if you need to. I remember there was this one story where Nate offered, or no, it was Nate offered. He called a lead over 30 times. It was a 50 center and wrote a policy on her. And then like 6 months later, there was a death claim paid out. And he talked about that at conference, and it just stuck with me about how important resolution is. And then on top of it, if you're looking at this like a business, because you should, your leads are your investment. That's your capital. That's your inventory. And if you're not resolving it, that's inventory that is not revolving. If it's not revolving, it's not making you money. It's collecting dust. It's your money collecting dust. Actually, it's your money being thrown away because it's not making you anything. So those are a couple things that I do. Am I missing anything, Chris? I feel like we talked about
No,
it.
I was sitting here taking notes on it, buddy. No, I was sitting here putting down your points. The key is, I would say, to take away from this, Elijah, is just like we said, do you actually do it? It's like, leaving level 1, the ability to fail, to go to level 2, the willingness to fail. Are you willing to actually do the 5 R's? Or are you just hearing it on a conference call and it's like, oh yeah, sounds good, and it's something else you're not applying to your business?
Mm-hmm. And if you have a hard time remembering to do the 5 R's during an appointment because you're thinking about a lot of things, carriers, product, objections, all that crap, put it in your presentation. You can adjust the Zoom PowerPoint, create a slide, and just put referrals, rugrats, replacement, and then the questions associated with each one of those. And then there's no excuses, because I didn't realize how important PPL was until Casey talked about it last week. And if you weren't on that call, you missed out massively, because the dude makes over $10 million a year and over an hour to teaching you how to be more profitable for free. So like, what are you doing? But anyways, it's all rooted in asking the right questions at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. And I just, I appreciate you setting that example and being an example of that, man. And just, so ask yourself, folks, he went down it. He said, he talked about the 5 R's. He talked about key here too. If you're taking 10 A leads a week, great. Take 30 bonus leads a week on top of it. You will see your profit margin go through the roof, because 1 to 2 sales out of those 30 pays for all of your business expenses, your business cost. And any apps you get off your A leads is pure profit. I mean, this is a good way to look at it. I was doing a calculation. How much do you think you spend a week in leads, Elijah?
An average is about like 110, 115.
Yeah, it's $133. It's what he makes $1,700 for every $133 he puts in leads.
Yep. And speaking to that too, I currently have about 3,100 in advances pending that should be paid out by Wednesday.
It's not even on that number.
That's previous business, man.
Right.
And I after hearing about the equity appreciation rights, like, it solidified for me just how big the opportunity is here, even for producers. Like, at first glance, I was like, oh, that doesn't necessarily affect me. I'm not an equity partner yet. I don't have a massive agency yet, but I'm going to get there. And then they said, but wait, you can earn between like 10 and 50 grand of a producer one. And like, that is implemented today. And for me, the application of that was, holy crap, I need to double down. And so I invested double last week in leads, what I was doing previously. I dropped $615 on leads in like 4 different states: Maryland, Jersey, Nevada, Virginia. Like, and I'm stoked to hit the phones and dial. And then on top of it, I'm putting $1,250 in ZipRecruiter now every month. And then I have an office. So I'm looking at this more like a business than I ever have. And if you're wondering, how do I do that today, small scale, it starts with the numbers. You need to know your numbers and you need to track them, because if you don't, you won't be able to capitalize on the opportunity we have here, because you won't be here 6 months from now.
Yeah, so true. Got to track your numbers. It's one of the things that You know, if we look at our agency and we look at a lot of our leaders, you know, one of the expectations that we're growing, you know, high support, high challenges, is those leader, you know, who are you allowing to daily hold you accountable to this business? Meaning, who are you sending your numbers to each day? Who are you sending it to each week? Ask yourself that. If you don't have somebody in your upline that you're doing that with, man, I'd do that. It's just like a good workout partner. We all work out better if we have a little accountability to each other, right? And it's not about us being anybody's boss, but I don't know how any way I could help Elijah or Grant Reynolds in their business if I didn't know their numbers. There's really no way I can help them. I can't give them any valuable feedback that gives them any information to go grow. But once we have those numbers, it's like, man, we can give you such valuable feedback into where you are, and also valuable feedback in what you need to do to get to where you want to get to. So, guys, I know we went a little bit over today. I knew it'd be some valuable training coming from Elijah. Thank you for the example you're setting, young man. How many 23-year-olds do y'all know that's on pace to make over 100,000 this year?
The goal's 120. And so I was doing the math because I still want to hit Costa Rica. And yeah, I sucked last month, just saying. Like, well, I hit 20 grand. The goal was like 35. So in order to hit it, I need to average, and anybody can do this. That's what I want to emphasize. Literally anybody here, as long as you're licensed, you can do this starting today. It's a 5-week month. We got 4 weeks left. I need to average 33,000 a month for the next 6 months. And that comes out to $8,250 a week in premium is the average. And so if I do that, I'll make 120.
Yeah. Hey, and no doubt that you can do that. It's just a question of, will you do that, right? So, and it's just that, hey, the only thing is, the key here, folks, is discipline. If a 23-year-old is disciplined enough to do it, he can do it. There's no doubt in my mind. The key is discipline, right? You just got to be disciplined enough to do it, because there's no doubt you can. The numbers already prove that you can, right? And so, buddy, I'll be cheering you on. And I predict if you wanted to, you could make 50 grand in 1 month. I think any personal producer out there can go and make 50 grand with us in 1 month. All they got to be willing to do is do the numbers that it takes to do it. And because you got, you know, Elijah, you saw on the national leaderboards this week, that couple, they wrote 55,000 last week, last month alone, right? The other gentleman that was on there, I think he wrote 60,000. You with me? So no doubt that anybody hearing our voice, if you want to go make that change and make that change quickly, just got to be willing to put in the numbers. And hey, constantly counsel, massive action, constant correction, counsel with your upline, make sure you're on the right track, because if you are, it's going to be a wildly profitable thing. Thank you, Elijah. Thank you, Jaime. Appreciate you guys for being on there. Thank y'all. Hope everybody got some value out of today's meeting. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one, buddy.